And good evening from Las Vegas. Out of tomorrow's final presidential debate right here on CNN. Donald Trump speaking today in Colorado is due here shortly. He'll arrive under fire for complaining without evidence that the election is being rigged against him, with People magazine reporting that 6 men and women have come forward to corroborate a former People writer's allegation that he tried to force himself on her. Hillary Clinton hit town under new scrutiny over her State Department emails, as well as something completely different. Video emerging of a group of pro-Clinton political operatives talking about stirring up trouble and provoking violence at Trump rallies. The video comes from Project Veritas, brainchild of James O'Keefe, who's got a less than stellar reputation for accuracy. However, some of the things you'll hear on the tape are certainly hard to ignore. Enough we're learning for one person to be fired so far, another to resign. A lot of questions being asked about the recording. Senior investigative correspondent Drew Griffin tonight has the story.
The Undercover videos, produced by discredited conservative activist James O'Keefe, suggest it was Democratic operatives, hired political activists, working in coordination with the DNC to instigate violence and incite reactions at Trump rallies. And in one of the Undercover videos, Scott Fovel, a subcontractor for a DNC-hired firm called Democracy Partners, supposedly explains just how he does it.
There's a script.
Okay.
There's a script of engagement. Sometimes the crazies bite, and sometimes the crazies don't bite. When they're outside the rally,
they're more affected out. They're harder to get in.
The media will cover it no matter where it happens.
I assume it's always in the rally.
Initiating the conflict by having leading conversations with people who are naturally psychotic. I mean, honestly, it is not hard to get some of these assholes to pop off.
Right.
It's a matter of showing up to want to get into the rally in a Planned Parenthood t-shirt. Or, you know, Trump is a Nazi. You know, you can message to draw them out and draw them to punch you.
According to the Undercover videos, it was this man the Democratic National Committee turned to organize the work. Bob Kramer is the husband of Illinois Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky. He's part of a group called Democracy Partners, and he too was caught on Undercover video, here explaining how he was hired by the Democratic National Committee to stage counter demonstrations and press conferences wherever the Trump campaign showed up.
Wherever Trump and Pence are going to be, we have a bench.
Okay.
And we have a whole team across the country that does that. Both consultants and people from the Democratic Party and the Democratic Party apparatus and people from the campaign, the Clinton campaign. My role with the campaign is to manage all that.
Kramer stepped down from the campaign today and announced his subcontractor, Scott Fovel, was no longer working for his firm. Both the DNC and the Clinton campaign deny any coordination with anything involving the incitement of violence. Kramer himself told CNN his former contractors were committing barroom talk, insisting none of what is being described by Fovel ever actually happened. In a statement, Kramer writes, "We regret the unprofessional and careless hypothetical conversations that were captured on hidden cameras of a regional contractor for our firm. He is no longer working with us." The Clinton campaign response, while Project Veritas has been known to offer misleading video out of context, some of the language and tactics referenced in the video are troubling, even as a theory or a proposal never executed. We support the Democratic National Committee's appropriate action addressing this matter and look forward to continue waging a campaign of ideas worthy of our democratic process. James O'Keefe is a convicted criminal, they add, with a history of doctoring video to advance his ideological agenda.
And Drew Griffin joins us now. So what's the DNC doing about this?
First, they put out a statement saying, Anderson, there's no evidence that anything described on these tapes actually took place. They agree with Bob Kramer's decision to step away and separate from any work on the Clinton campaign, but they're also going to investigate, they say, James O'Keefe to find out if he did anything illegal in obtaining or gathering these tapes. We also did just get a statement in from Democracy Partners. That's a group of a partnership, basically, that works on Democratic campaigns. They said that we were breached and betrayed, but still standing, and we condemn, violence and election tampering in all forms. So that's where it stands tonight, Anderson.
All right, Drew Griffin. Drew, thanks. You can bet the panel's got plenty to say about this. Clinton supporter and former Obama senior advisor Van Jones is with us. Clinton supporter and Democratic strategist Maria Cardona, chief political analyst Gloria Borger, Trump supporters Jeffrey Lord and Scotty Nell Hughes, and our political director David Chalian. Gloria, how big a deal is this? I mean, it certainly looks damning on the tape.
It does look damning, and we don't know how big a deal it is. It's just more garbage in what's been a very ugly and divisive campaign. We don't know whether this was locker room talk, to coin a phrase, to use a phrase, or whether this.
It is sort of, I mean, though, ironic that they're using the term
Right.
barroom talk
right.
when they condemn Donald Trump
Exactly.
for, saying locker room
Exactly.
talk.
We don't know how this video was gotten. We don't know how it was edited. I mean, there are so many unanswered questions to this story, so you need to start peeling the layers of the onion here. What I will say, though, on the face of it, you see the story. It first appears in Breitbart. It confirms an existing negative narrative. If you are so disposed to believe that the Clinton campaign is dishonest, et cetera, it will do that. I think, however, this is a story that needs a lot more reporting on it, and the tape is quite disturbing, honestly.
Jeffrey, I mean, as a Trump supporter, you hear these people talking about,
I'm not surprised.
egging people on and fomenting violence.
Yeah, I'm not surprised in the least. As a matter of fact, I said some version of this months and months ago without knowing about this, and said, this is what the American left historically does. They do things like this. The whole Chicago riots in 1968 were based with these kind of provocations. And to be bipartisan about it for a moment, the first thing I thought of when I heard this was Nixon's plumbers, who were out there breaking the law deliberately, burglarizing Daniel Ellsberg's psychiatrist's office and this kind of thing. I mean, this is not acceptable in American politics.
Yeah.
I mean, this is totally unacceptable. And here we are.
Maria?
You're right. It is not acceptable at all, which is why I'm glad that the DNC and the Hillary for America campaign came out and said as much. I do think we have to underscore, though, the fact that James O'Keefe has zero credibility in this area. He's the one who did the doctored videos of Planned Parenthood, which were completely false. He's a criminal, right? And so I think that, yes, we have to look into it and to make sure that, none of this actually happened. The DNC says none of it actually happened, and in fact, this group and this guy was not working for the DNC.
But I think to say he's a criminal, by the way, I mean, so he did committed. I guess
he's a convicted criminal, isn't he?
Well, he was convicted of a crime. I don't know that one brands a person a criminal for the rest of their life based on one action.
Okay,
Van, what do you make?
That's true, but then I think we have to continue to look at it and see what's going on.
Well, there are two different things here. One is it looks like a confession from Kramer that they are sending people to the rallies to stir up trouble. That's not illegal. It's distasteful, but you can kind of live with that. The other, though, is horrific. The other is a conspiracy to rig an election. Now, I would take that much more seriously if it didn't come from Pinocchio. I mean, the guy, I don't like, calling people criminals.
By the way, that's Donald Trump's plane arriving here in Las Vegas. He's arriving for the debate tomorrow. Go ahead.
But I would take it a lot more seriously. They're not booing me, Jeffrey. As much as you wish they were booing me, they're not booing me. They're booing your candidate. So here's the deal. I think that the fact that this comes from O'Keefe is a reason to withhold judgment. It's a reason to withhold judgment because this guy literally is Mr. Pinocchio. If there's a less trusted figure in American politics, I don't know who it is.
That's right.
But if any of this is even remotely true, it's very disturbing.
Well, let me point this out about James O'Keefe. Let me be the second person to defend him. Remember, Acorn lost their taxpayer funding because of James O'Keefe and his investigation into housing fraud and what was going on. But still, then talk to the Republicans and Democrats. Well, I don't know about false.
He successfully stampeded the Congress into doing something horrific.
So he stampeded them. So he fooled all of the House.
He did. In fact, all that turned out to be false.
But what we're finding out is you cannot sit there and discredit him. But he's not Mr. Pinocchio. His work actually has accomplished things things. I'm sorry that it doesn't fit your narrative that Trump supporters are horrible and they're for violence. It actually shows that, once again, they were instigated. That the whole year we've been demonized, saying that we are just the ones that are causing all this violence at our rallies. And this just proves, like the Chicago rally, like it proves about the woman with COPD, that they were sent in to instigate. It wasn't necessarily to be a part of the democratic
There's no
process.
proof that any of it happened.
Yeah, well, there is. They claim it right here. They had no reason on secret tape to lie about it.
Well, by the way, that's like saying Donald Trump had no reason to lie about, molesting women on a tape to Billy Bush.
It's a completely different thing. This is a conversation with one other. No, okay.
Well,
this is much worse.
But there is a certain amount of hypocrisy. I mean, either you can believe Donald Trump was bragging about something he didn't actually do. You can believe these people on a tape were bragging about something they didn't do to make themselves more important. I'm not saying they did. I don't know who's right and who's wrong in this, but it's strange to say one person's bragging,
one demonized one person, one demonized an entire movement. Trump supporters have been made out to be the most evil people, and that's not right. It's not fair. The most peaceful.
But listen, I mean,
go ahead, David.
Not by their own
obviously,
words.
to your point, even the hypothetical was serious enough that the Clinton campaign came out to reject that in their statement. They wanted to make that clear. I do think you can hear in Scotty's comments, this is going to give a lot of energy and juice and comfort to Trump supporters because the media covered so much of the violence at Trump rallies really extensively. And so now that they have something, Trump supporters have something now to hang on to say, hey, this wasn't just some natural phenomenon.
Which, by the way, was an allegation being made by Trump supporters on our air at the time, saying this, and I think even Donald Trump.
And that will be a big energy boost for Trump supporters.
Jeff, you get your shot, but I don't think that saves you. Look, people have to take responsibility for their own actions. If somebody goes to a Hillary Clinton rally and says Hillary Clinton is the B word, and then somebody punches that person, the person who did the punching has to take responsibility. People get provoked all the time. This is the real world.
And you're sounding more and more like me every day. This is great, a conversion on air.
But here's the thing. The DNC says that they have no evidence to suggest that the activities articulated in the video actually occurred.
That's right.
That's where the reporting has to come in because you have to match it.
Laura, you know where this is going to lead, don't you?
No, I don't.
A congressional investigation at some point.
Well, we hope
Are you
so,
calling
actually.
Jason Chaffetz?
We hope so, because part of what the DNC said is that they are looking into James O'Keefe and whether everything that he did, not so above board. And by the way, huge connection between James O'Keefe, Breitbart, Steve Bannon, Roger Stone. So again,
because once again, you're blaming us. You're blaming and demonizing us. That narrative does not work.
Trump supporters love this. This is going to do nothing to change minds.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. This just proves this idea that whether you want to talk about media bias, whether you talk about pundit bias, that you're all out there.
You guys are the ones talking about media bias.
Let
her finish. Let her finish.
Right now, you have Trump supporters that say, I want to vote for Mr. Trump in these polls, but I'm afraid to say it. You saw on Friday, you saw a line of cars at a Trump-Pence rally be completely vandalized. You saw a firebombing on Saturday night of a Republican headquarters that had Trump-Pence signs.
Exactly.
This goes against the narratives that the Democrats are trying to paint as Republicans, Trump supporters, as deplorable. So it doesn't work anymore.
Let's